Welcome back, my gardening friends. Well, Thompson and Morgan have asked me to share some of my gardening on a budget tips and what I do, what I've found, what I use, those little hacks, and maybe the best ways to improve our soil without breaking the bank, cost-effective fruit and vegetables, and maybe choosing plants that are easy to propagate. Tool and equipment hacks and clever ways to save money. Well, I think I've got most of those sorted. And remember, the comments in any videos are the most important, so please help me out, my regulars, and pop into the comments little ideas or things that I do that I've forgotten all about. So let's have a little walk around. It won't be in order, but hopefully you'll get the gist and you'll make notes. So hold on tight, guys. You can't beat having lots and lots of bays to store stuff in. There's the 4-year-old wood chips, my homemade compost. I always put potatoes in my homemade compost first year round because potatoes are really good at breaking it down. Here are some of the composts with the perlite in and the cocoa coir that we find unscrupulously dumped. So these are the wood chips, and 3 or 4 years later you can end up with something that looks like this. This is a great addition to any soil. Clay helps break it down. And of course, while we're here, if your sift has broken, then why not use a cover for a fan? That fits perfectly. And of course, there's fire guards if you want your soil a little bit finer for seed compost. These are my temporary compost bins, so all the material has been going in there since about October, when my main bin was full and we sealed it up. And basically, once this bed had finished, I've put the pallet collars on there, and then all the juices out of that go into that bed, so nothing's wasted. And once the material has broken down enough, we can spread it around the allotments onto the beds. Now these are my 2 manure bins. This is what I'm collecting at the moment, nice and fresh. Fresh is good, but it may scorch your plants. But I actually put it into the bottom of an IBC, and then all the juices run out into that container. Then I collect them, and you end up with liquid black gold, which is an excellent feed. And here's my well-rotted manure on the opposite side. This area here is just dedicated to leaves. Well, most of the time. I do tell fibs, guys. But there's this year's leaves from the fall. And over the years, I'll just make a note, we didn't collect any last year because they all blew away. But this year we're on 23 bags. I'm hoping to get 2 more. So they're fresh. And the top leaves there are from 2022, and the ones underneath are from 2021, and it's surprising how well they rot down. 25 of these bulk bags will rot down over 3 years into 1 bag. So basically that's 1 cubic meter of leaf mold. That's ideal for creating new beds. But if you want to make some seed compost, then you just put it through those sifts. Look at that lovely material, all for free. Just your own time. Just a little bit of time, and you can produce quite a bit of material. Because remember, our vegetables give us crops, but we still need to feed the soil and keep the worms happy. You keep the worms happy, they'll irrigate it, and they'll create a nice environment for the roots of our plants. To help my beds over the winter, I've mulched that one with some 2-3 year old leaves. This one we've used sheep's wool. apparently it does rot really well. My first time in using it. And then a little further down we've got the green manure. In there is a mixture of winter tares, white clover and green field beans, and they give a lovely carpet to protect the bed over the winter and stops the weeds, and of course dragging all that nitrogen out of the air into their roots. We chop and drop it, cover it over. Our plants love it. And not forgetting the cardboard. Worms love cardboard. Let's have a look. Sorry, Mr. Worm. It has been a bit chilly. They're probably a bit further down. So what do I get for free that I can turn into containers for growing things in? Well, there's a loft water tank, plastic. I'll put a bolt through there, threaded bar to hold it together because I've cut the top out, and the wick comes all the way through there. You think, what's he doing? Well, that wick then goes into these water barrels and siphons and draws the water up into the bed. So that eliminates the need for me to water, and all these tanks are connected via the siphoning system that can be found within my 1600 videos. An excellent hack. So now I don't have to move water, it flows off the roof and into all the barrels, and all the barrels stay at the same height. Just have to be aware we don't go too far down and stop the siphoning system. I'll show you more on the other allotment about this system. Galvanised tanks. This used to be my main water supply, especially those two over there, but eventually they have rotted. I'm now going to turn them into raised beds. The one you've just looked at will sit across here. I'll create another hybrid inoculum underneath for all the bugs and insects. I've cut that log in half to encourage our friends, whether they be friendly four-legged with a tail or our hedgehogs, and using all the surplus bricks in the bottom to attract our wildlife. Old wheelie bins that nobody else wants, I use those. One there is for my perennial weeds. I drown them in one of those wheelie bins and I store things in the others. I managed to get some smaller wheelie bins. Now they hold all my canes and keep them in order, only if I put them in order. And I've crisscrossed some bits of wood in there so that I can stack them in certain sizes. That's okay as long as I put them in the correct one. Polycarbonate sheets, people do throw them into the skips, and by gum they are grateful when I say, could I please have those? Remember, if you go skip diving or asking, you must ask the owner first, because it doesn't really belong to you. Just ask. No doubt, I've never had anybody refuse me anything that I've seen in a skip. This is my cardboard. This will go on top of the leaves once we've finished. And it's a really nice thick cardboard. The worms love going in there and creating baby worms. I use decking screws throughout my allotment, and when I take them out I put them in there and then I reuse them. And just while we're here, that's the urine bucket. That is a great activator for our leaves and compost bins. I grow my own comfrey. This is the spreading variety. A little bit of a pain. I have got Bocking 14, which is sterile, but I use this in large quantities to fill this wheelie bin that's got a pipe in the bottom, and that sits into the top there, and that's this year's. But none of my viewers said to me, come on Terry, you've put 2014, not 2024. Who else didn't spot that? But the hole there's a bit of wire to stop all the comfrey stalks, leaves, etc. from coming through, and I can normally get about 18 litres of concentrate, not adding water, that's just a concentrate. Well worth doing, even on a smaller version, or setup shall we say. This is another bottom out of an IBC. That's the 1 litre, 1,000 litre tanks that you see. It was all rotten. I cut it all down, and what I do with that, lie it on the floor, and when I'm sifting my nettles, my nettle plant food, it catches all the liquid, and then I turn the tap on and fill my can. So my nettle plant food's in there, which is nitrogen. That's ideal for cabbages, etc. Comfrey is ideal for fruiting crops, and we've got 2 tanks there with the manure runoff, that black liquid gold. That can be added to the beds a couple of 3 weeks before we open them up in the spring, if you want to give it a little bit more life. I get a lot of wood out of skips. Like I say, always ask, but you never know what you're going to get, and they do come in ideal because wood is very expensive now, and I can always seem to find something for each of the pieces that I do find or salvage. These are single-use strops, lifting equipment. There's been accidents, so now they have designed a single one that's only used once, then it gets thrown away. What a waste! But ideal for supporting my autumn fruiting raspberries and my asparagus. Nothing worse than the asparagus falling over at this time of the year when you want all that goodness to go back down into the ground to make sure or ensure you get an excellent crop every year. And these are all grown from seed from one volunteer on the other plot where a bird must have pooped out one of the seeds. Again, there's some nice green manure there, and here, just get rid of the light, we've got some lovely sprouts that the caterpillars are still loving, even though we've had -5 temperatures. Ah dear. But we have to live with nature. We need butterflies. We'll do battle next year. This is my netted fruit cage with the berries and fruits that those birds love to eat before we can get at them. And around this time last year, I took some wood cuttings, put them all into one pot, and recently I've separated them all, and they're all growing. So now I can replace the ones that are getting out of hand with some fresh at no cost at all, just my time. All the square pots you see on my allotment were unscrupulously dumped by some growers with their compost. So just a little gardening hack: a 1 litre fruit juice bottle and a yoghurt pot, cut down in a certain way, creates a little mini greenhouse for our plants with aeration. There's some of the sheep's wool. I've saved some for the birds in the spring. Did have to buy that, but £50 for £20 for a bulk bag with about 10 fleeces in. I thought that was worth trying. Soil from molehills. Everybody keeps adding fresh compost that they buy to their gardens, but it needs something else, like wood chips, like leaf mould. I collect all my tea leaves, dry them and remove them from the bags. Because they're dry, they store really easily. These are the coffee grounds that I saved 2024 this year. Put them in the sun, dried them out properly, and I've sifted them as well. That will last for years now. That's a great nitrogen addition to any plot. And of course log ashes, ideal for those areas. I use log ashes in with my potatoes. That helps with the wireworm and scab. I also collect eggshells, sun dry them, blend them, and with the coffee grounds, blended eggshells and coffee grounds, a little encircle your plants. It does help to put off the slugs or snails. Don't have too many issues with snails here, but exactly the same. They just think twice. I've used a pallet there to store my mini greenhouses. And there's even a kitchen sink on my plot, which will be replaced eventually with the Belfast sink that's there. And under this long root structure for the shows is a pond, just in case we get any frogs to help us in the garden. Pallet collars make ideal raised beds. They're 4 high, and my back has never been better. When I bend down onto some of the other low pallet collars around the corner there, I'm thinking, wish I could make them bigger, but then I wouldn't be able to pick me long beans. Some of those pallet collars have gone rotten this time. I shall share those with a plot neighbour, and he'll be grateful of them. Don't buy them. Keep asking, keep begging. It's the only way you can do it when you're gardening on a budget. This is my polytunnel, and you can see all the blue barrels, and they're all connected with a siphoning system down here, so that water goes in there, it runs across here, runs across that way, runs across in front of me. These are spare barrels that we fill up. These barrels here have all got the siphoning system in, and just round the polytunnel I've got 6,800 litres worth of water, and of course I'll get the blue barrels for nothing. And there's we just silicon and screwed it to the side of the polytunnel. And of course we've all got those untidy sheds, but I save all the cardboard rolls for the parsnips. Some vegetables don't like them, but the bean family loves them. There's all my yoghurt pots. Some yoghurt pots are better than others. All the fruit things that we get, that saves me. I can pick my own fruit into those. And of course, a gardener's best friend is the old mushroom trays. You'll see them outside food establishments. Seed saving, there's my garlic. There's the sweet candle carrot, F1. Am I bothered if it's F1 or not? No. We'll see if it grows. These are all my old bean seeds, but as you can see, I've found containers that will keep the mice out reasonably well. Not in a cardboard box, guys. I have got some metal ones. I promise I'll reuse them. I'll say I've rushed this. No, that apple I'm supposed to be eating. I save all my own potatoes. I put them into the egg trays, and they go to a little outdoor fridge that does work. It's in my shed, so I'll put the fridge on when it's warm, open the door when it's cold, and they'll keep nicely until the spring. And here's some of the beans that I hid from Mrs. K in the house. Some broad beans there, the long beans for the shows, some sugar snap peas, the Hendrix snow peas, some mixed long beans because they all got mixed together. There's some more pongos there, but these netted bags are ideal. You do get them in the supermarkets, but you also have your wool delivered in them. Mrs. K gladly lets me use them. And then you need somewhere to store your seeds, whether you buy them or get given them or share them. Sharing is good. And these are just photo cases, ideal for storing your seeds in. Well worth thinking about. Having them in a box, keep sorting through them, is always a pain. Yeah, please remember just to check those comments out. But there's also what I grow because they are really good. You got potatoes, carrots, Jerusalem artichokes, asparagus. They can all be, they're in the ground. They can keep producing. Radishes, lettuce, spring onions, red, white onions, tomatoes, cucumbers, rhubarb. And of course, all those fruits in the fruit cage, raspberries, blackberries, gooseberries, the currant family, strawberries. They all keep producing year after year. Radishes and lettuce are a little bit harder, but if you ever let a radish go to seed, the seed pods caught just at the right time are a lovely addition to any salad plate. If you've liked the content, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down for the interaction. Pay Thompson and Morgan a visit. Their link will be in the description below. why not consider subscribing and check those comments out and see what people say and how you can actually save some money. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now.